Hey guys, it's Chris at Attribution or TRVG if you want to use it for short. We're back again. This time a little bit of pop culture news for a change. But as always, like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Really does help us a lot. It is free. You don't have to pay anything on this at all. We don't really do a Patreon at the moment. It's something we are looking to do at some point. But you know, it's one of these things where I don't really want to say, oh yeah, we charge £2-3 so you get to watch videos a day or 3 early, or you'll get exclusive enhancements. We want to basically give everything out for free as much as we can do. So yeah, whatever content we produce, I want everyone to get it as much as they can, as quickly as they can. So yeah, when we do set that, it'll be a case of it's £1, it's £2, etc, etc. If you feel want a tip, drop us a tip. We're not asking for anything, we don't expect it. But yeah, subscribe for free. It really doesn't cost that much, it helps us a lot. Same with the likes, same with the comments. The more comments we get, obviously, the more we will interact, the more we'll let you know how we're feeling. Little bits extra we can drop in there, which we won't be able to drop in after the videos. We want to build that community, and we really want to get people on board as much as possible, because this is a big effort. We're trying to create a positive community of retro gamers who really enjoy and want to talk about our subjects as much as they can do. And yeah, do it for the love, which is what we want to do. But yeah, we're going on here a little bit of pop culture for a change, because I thought, well, it's a bit of a slow news day at the moment, so I wanted to drop something out that's fairly relevant to all of us, and that's regarding Disneyland Paris. Now, you might have heard these bits and pieces in the background and news-wise. It's been rumouring around for a while, particularly around Walt Disney World after the pandemic. Yeah, they took, I think it was about 33 billion. It's probably way more than that actually in terms of debt that they took out just trying to keep the business afloat. They've stabbed a lot of their employees in the back. They've basically chucked them out with on furlough. They've canned a lot of the actors and a lot of the performers around the area, and these are people who've been there for 15-20 years, probably more even than that. Literally, these are the lifeblood of some of the parks, and it's really been curbed down. You can't really blame Disney too much, because at the end of the day it is a business. They've got to try and do what they can, but in the same respect, the way they have handled a lot of their employees and a lot of negotiations, particularly around pay, have been absolutely despicable. Don't even look at the healthcare system and what they've actually done in terms of supporting people, because I think you'd probably be pretty angry with how things have turned out. But it's always peaceful to know that the bosses did all get bonuses, so it's all happy in the end there. But anyway, we want to go through with what's actually changed with Disneyland Paris. Obviously, their studio park was notoriously how was I want to use for it? It was inclusive. It was interesting. It had this unique vibe. The vibe being there was nothing there for a very long time. I mean, we had supporting little patches put in. Crush's Coaster got dropped in there. Ratatouille was dropped in there. All the little themed areas. The last dump of popular cars in seemed to go fairly well, and they've kind of tried to build it up as much as they can do with as limited budget as they had. Remember, every year they were making a loss because of huge loans they took out back in the early 90s to actually build the place. So they were very much, they were working with two arms tied behind their back. It was near impossible. Recently though, Walt Disney Company actually bought out the entire Disneyland Paris from the French government, wiped off all the debt, and they said, right, from this on, whatever you make now is profit. That was incredible. We all thought, fantastic, this is going to be a fantasy development, something's actually going to happen. We're going to get a European park that's probably going to go on par with the two US parks that are wholly owned by the Disney company as well. And given the raft of money they were making, particularly as they just bought Star Wars, they just bought Marvel, and the billion-dollar productions they were producing, this was a company that was seriously investing in parks entertainment. It could only get better. And believe me, if you saw the original proposals for the President of the Studio Park, giant lake in there, new rides, new themed areas, with a huge reimagining of an entire park. It's something that doesn't happen that often. It's absolutely incredible. But yeah, pandemic hit, lots of things got pulled back. Disney Paris is in a very lucky position because a lot of this was already approved, greenlit, and started production. So they've already started development work already around building the lake up and building some of the areas. So stuff's already been bought in. It can't be cancelled. It's too far gone. Plus, also, the park desperately needs it. It's not a project that you would kill, given the fact that so many people in Europe are going to go and visit this. It's a potential money earner. So Bob Chapek and the guys that are currently there doing the purse strings have really looked at Disney and gone, right, Disney Paris, and said, right, this is something we need to invest in, this is something we need to use as a test bed, because it's on par with Disneyland California in terms of size, scale, and very similar kind of ride structures. And this is where it's got interesting, because they recently announced, just in the last week, they're now going to charge visitors up to $18. Yeah, call it, say, €15 for Fastpasses if you want to skip ride queues. And this all relates to a Disney Genie app that's been proposed in the background for the US. I think they're going to do something not too dissimilar to Disneyland Paris. But yeah, Disneyland Paris, they're retiring their free Fastpass service. Lets visitors skip up to ride lines anyway. So instead, what you'll have now is, instead of standard line and a Fastpass, you will have whatever this new Disney Pass is called, this all-encompassing come in, certain time slot, booking reservation. You might see it on sort of Rise of the Resistance, the ride system they're using there, where they have these book groups that go in within 15-minute periods, and that's your ride slot. And then they'll have a standby line. A standby line works very similar to almost like the front lines at Alton Towers. If you want to get the front seats on a particular roller coaster, there's a standby line. When those seats are empty, they'll call you in and get filled. It moves a lot slower, but the potential is you get the best possible seat to experience that ride. Now, they're offering this as a Premier Access program. I love the way they use that Premier Access, as though it's they're using the Disney Plus concept of how they advertise things, and they're pushing it through into parks as well. Not that the parks didn't make half of the entire profit for the entire Disney company. Something which they're very keen, obviously, to push towards streaming now, to see if they can try to negate the impacts as much. And yeah, Attraction Live Big Thunder Mountain, Star Tours will include a new program. I'm expecting everything to be included in this new program. Wherever there's been a Fastpass kiosk, they're going to basically shove this on. It's going to literally obliterate the entire way of the park operates currently. But we'll go into that in a little bit anyway. Fastpass and tickets will skip rides at Disney theme parks historically all with free to park codes. Yes, they have been to a degree. Obviously, you also get pulled out, maintenance happens, the ride for some reason stops halfway through. Free passes were always given out as a kind of compensation. It saved other things. It was a cost-free exercise for Disney to do. Now, this is starting to change over the summer. Disneyland Paris are going to retire the complimentary Fastpass program and start charging those who want to have quicker access to the attractions using the system that I've already mentioned. And this has already been announced. The vacation spot was located in Chessy, France. This massive program has already been made visible to the public. So now this is the spiel that I love from Disney. This is where, according to the theme park, the new service will help parkgoers enjoy the ability to skip the regular glue line for thrills, rides, classic attractions, and more. Let's just read that down to the basic idea of, you take the Fastpass system here, £15, €15, whatever, per day, per person, I might add. So that'll be family of four, you're looking at £60, call it shy of $80 on there, €60, etc. Skip the queue lines. You're still going to go in the Fastpass, but that's reliant on how many people are in the Fastpass queue already. So the Fastpass queue could be as slow as the normal queue on an average day, but they make money off it. And you'll book each of these pass slots, your booking slot to go into for 15-minute intervals, and then you're free to walk around the rest of the park and enjoy other things, or technically your virtual queuing. That's a brilliant idea. I totally agree to that. That's a fantastic thing that a lot of parks are moving towards, particularly with the way that the pandemic's hit. Yeah, queuing is something nobody really likes doing now, and that close confined quarters in quite enclosed spaces. Anything to reduce that is a benefit, and I totally agree, it's a fantastic idea in that respect. But what it's now forcing you to do is saying, well, you can't queue, so now you're going to have to rely on outdoor entertainment that might be going on and going around, or walking in the free spaces that are around, or you might want to go into the shops and restaurants. So you basically, it's a second dip effectively there for Disney to have this extra potential to get some more cash out of you at the same time. Not only for the fact you ordered a Fastpass and then you got a bit more free time, but by also the fact that you could now potentially be spending more money buying a few snacks, a few drinks, or a few extra goodies and accessories while you wander around. And don't forget, obviously, they still deliver back to hotels, so you don't even have to carry on to the rides. You can just purchase it and have it delivered later. It's a bit cheeky. I do admire them in the kind of evil genius kind of way, the fact they're doing this. But they put promotional videos on Instagram, they put them on YouTube, they're promoting this. And I've seen a lot of the PR things come out for this, particularly around sort of PopSugar. I love that one. PopSugar's reporters that were to drop that one in always seem to have had previous dealings with Disney, or seem to have worked with Disney in previous aspects. So they always tend to take the Disney mantra, the PR campaign that's gone through bullet points, transcribe it and push it straight up. So it's always fun when they actually put something there, because it's almost like guess the words and which executive they came from. But yeah, they've put the mentions on there saying they're going to pay between $9 to €8 and $18 to €15 per person per ride. So it makes you question, if it's a minimum of €8 for the first time you get a booking, what booking slot that's going to be. It sure as hell isn't going to be the most popular slot in the middle of the afternoon. Is it going to be a late night one? Is it going to be an early morning one? What slots are going to be deemed as, we'll just charge the bare minimum for it, but we've got to charge because that's a new system. So this is worrying now, because there's no actual dictation of those time slots are going to always poop only at that price. So that means that every time slot could be, say, €8 or $9, but then if it becomes popular at 50-60% capacity going in, who says they're not going to raise those prices because you want to get in at that time slot before it sells out? And it starts becoming very much more of a cheeky cash grab. Obviously, you can imagine they're doing this. They're going to obviously do it with Big Thunder Mountain, Hyperspace Mountain, Tower of Terror. You can imagine Ratatouille having it. But then other ones that have huge queues, like Autopia, for some strange reason, it always has a huge queue. Same Buzz Lightyear's Light Blast. Yeah, it's a fantastic little video game to play. It's just a lot of fun shoot as you go around. These are all going to basically have constant potential for additional charges. Now, us as fans of pop culture, us as fans of video game culture in general, money's an important thing to us. We've only got so much liquid cash at the best of times. We don't really want to spend out as much as we can. We've spent out a huge amount on the holidays anyway. So when you go to something like this, the promise of you pay a huge amount, nearly about €100 for a party for a day, the idea was all rides were free. That was why the e-ticket system was dropped off there, so that you could basically go on any ride and experience anything you wanted and have the very best of the entertainment. By now saying you can have that, but you can get on it quicker if you pay a little bit more, it very much starts putting this as a case of not everyone can go and visit, and now everyone kind of has to pay a little bit more just to get the same experience they had 3 or 4 years ago. It's almost charging for your dreams, and it's something I've noticed Disney doing more and more, particularly with the gaming environment as well. Yes, the quality of some of the games have vastly improved in the last couple of years, but in the same respect, the additional download content they're also putting in adds. You want to pay a little extra for this, or we're timed exclusive, or we're timed seasonal events, or maybe some of the plot structures being held back, gradually being drip fed over the course of the year, as an idea of, we just want to keep you interested in the game, no, we really want to keep you pumping some extra cash into that DLC. So it's interesting they're looking at this business aspect again, and it's very much a case they don't want to push the numbers up of attendance, they want to reduce them down but charge as much as they possibly can to get out of them. And it makes me a little bit concerned, especially as they've done this with the very recent, and it's obviously going into Disneyland Paris as well, which is the new Spider-Man ride. I know Dan Ibsen, if we're going on to conversational topics, he's a regular viewer for the channel. He did a video on this, touching on Spider-Man's new ride DLC, where you basically have about 4 or 5 additional toy enhancements that you can pick up. And these toy enhancements, I might add, were from a defunct concept a while ago that Disney had come in for another interactive adventure show. It was Dinosaur or something like that. Where basically you have these additional toys, but if you wore into the ride, they could perform these additional functions. It was seeing that concept has been pushed into Spider-Man, using the same time toy systems, similar gimmicks, and basically doing a Toy Story Mania, but now instead of a one shot, you've now got a rapid shot if you wear one particular function. Explosive shot could be off something else. There's a net function if you purchase a particular toy. So now you're going to see a lot of people walking in with these £25 toys, 2 on each arms, probably a couple on the hands as well, going in, aiming for these massive high scores. And obviously these high scores stay on the system throughout the entire day, so it's an incentive for you to have to purchase stuff as well to get higher on there on top. But when you're looking at saying, okay, I'm running a free ride, but I'm paying €125 in toys so I can be the best at this ride, and then if I want to queue up but I want to get on early because this is a regular and very popular ride, so I'm going to want to ride it quite a few times, I'm going to be paying an extra €15 to get my Fastpass so I can guarantee I'll go onto this ride and then go on a little bit later and a few other times. We're now charging up to €140 for one game. I mean, we don't pay that on Xbox One, we don't pay that on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. So why are we having to do it in real life? So it's start arguing the question, if this kind of thing's coming through in one particular real life scenario here, who's to say the company isn't going to start looking at other parts of its media and other parts of its IP and start looking for similar principles? Yeah, could we be buying the latest Xbox thing? We've seen with Disney Infinity when that originally came through, you had a game that was fantastic to play in terms of creative sandbox, but in order to really unlock a lot of the aspects to play it to its fullest, you'd have to buy a series of 25 characters or an additional 50 item discs to really unlock these bits of potential, and that's just for the first year. You'd be looking at the second and third year, or version 2, version 3, with additional characters, additional functionality that be put into those ones as the game's enhanced, but then looking at patches of previous ones to incorporate them in, all the time getting you to spend that key little bit of extra cash to try and pick up as many of these products as possible. That, yeah, they're great from a model point of view, and they're great little trophies that you can have stand around as a collection, but they're not physically adding any additional benefit apart from unlocking stuff that was originally on those discs. And this, in particular Spider-Man, is a case of all this functionality is originally in the game, it's just being held back by a mighty paywall. And so were the queues as well. Now they're being hidden back by a paywall. At what point do we start saying we need to stop? Yeah, certain things and certain aspects of these theme parks are starting to become a very quick cash grab beyond the price of overpriced hot dogs and drinks and sort of poor entertainment. It's getting to the point now where I feel that, particularly with Europe, particularly as Disneyland is obviously the biggest and most involved theme park in the European area, it does beg the question, should we really have a second theme park to come up onto a similar principle and a similar level that could compete and give that diversification that would allow us to have a more competitive environment to stop this kind of thing happening? More importantly though, it takes a look at these the Fastpass side of things, and you start questioning, well, if Disneyland Paris is going to have it, how's it going to affect Walt Disney World? Now, look at the side of Walt Disney World, you're talking 6 major parks in there, including the water parks, huge amounts of restaurant areas, lots of activities you can take on the side, including the VIP tours, etc. Where are they going to stop with the charging? How much are they going to charge for? We're already seeing it with every hotel has a VIP villa attached to it, usually on top of the suites area, to give them more inclusivity, and basically it feels like the richer you are, the better the Disney experience you get. And it's well, I'm hearing a lot of rumours around that sort of Disney are basically moving away from the Walt Disney brand because of obviously historical issues they have around Walt Disney, particularly being a smoker, being a narcissist, a few of the little aspects there. Yeah, key things that were like 50, 60 years ago, nobody really batted an eyelid. But in today's sort of environment and today's personal experiences, you wouldn't really want that kind of guy associated with a homely, family-orientated brand. So they're moving more away to call themselves the Disney company, very familiar, very friendly, very 80s kind of styled. So you start begging the question, well, at what point, I'm pretty much going off on a tangent on these, but at what point do these businesses start, or rather stop, going into this sort of this quest and crusade? But yeah, I feel like I really sort of diversified off the original subject of it. But yeah, re-summarise back at the start. We got Disneyland Paris. They're really sort of pushing into the idea of we're adding DLC value by forcing you to pay for things that you've already paid before. It's a similar mantra as most theme parks tend to take on a lot of the time. But yeah, I'd be very interested to see everyone else's thoughts on this. Do you think it's right that they should be charging for something that was originally given free to a worldwide audience? Do you feel they're right to start clawing back the cash they've had to spend hours over the pandemic to keep people employed? Do you think it's right they actually gave their bosses bonuses on this purely over a pandemic as well, just based off their current performance levels? I'd be curious to hear all your voices and thoughts. Is this something you actually want to have covered again, or would you take another look at any other aspects in the gaming industry that's been happening more recently, particularly developments on particular studio splits and reacquisitions? Please let us know in the comments, like, comment and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Take care.